first of all, I congratulate Policy Circle for organizing this event. And it's very heartening to see so many youngsters here, youngsters who are present today to listen to us. And I have also got the honor of listening to so many eminent personalities before me. So when we talk about regulatory confusion, then what is regulatory confusion? Regulatory confusion basically leads to uncertainty, which in turn leads to instability, and instability in fact leads to chaos and scams. So when we talk about the present globalized world, the absence of a clear regulation in fact leads to, say, multiple problems faced by all the countries. And when we talk about India, the absence of a clear regulation not only affects ease of doing business, but it also affects public health at large. I'll explain how. Now, my colleague Meenakshi ji, she pointed out about the 2019 blanket ban on e-cigarettes, where the government, in fact, on the floor of the House, floor of the Parliament, said that, in fact, there was no scientific study which was conducted by the government to analyze the basically the ill effects of e-cigarettes before the actual ban came. And when we talk about WHO, so WHO on record has said that tobacco use is a major risk factor for many chronic diseases, including cancer, lung diseases, cardiovascular disease, and stroke. It is one of the major causes of death and disease in India and accounts for nearly 1.35 million deaths every year. India is also the second largest consumer and producer of tobacco. Now, when we talk about tobacco deaths, so many unfortunate deaths happen because of tobacco in our country. So what are we actually doing about that? So tobacco harm reduction is on the radar of the government, has been on the radar of the government since long. But how do we achieve that? In my view, because I've been associated with this realm for about now more than 7 to 8 years, what I have seen is that harm reduction alternatives to tobacco users is one of the major things that can actually lead to, say, a reduction in these disease burden as well as the deaths. Now, when we talk about 2019, I clearly remember that during the parliamentary debate, many MPs, several MPs in fact, urged the government that banning e-cigarettes and like products like heat not burn products, which is itself, it is in fact a heated tobacco device, is a hasty decision by the government and not backed by any scientific evidence. In fact, the whole unfortunate thing about the regulation in India is that the regulatory setup in India is that whenever there is a novel thing, we first think of just banning it. And then we spend years in overturning that ban because of advocacy, like we've been doing in this realm. So whenever a novel thing comes, you just ban it. And then it takes 10 years, 15 years to overturn that ban. Now, if you see that it's quite, I'm quite amazed to see that a cigarette is available to youngsters. You can just go to a nearby pawn shop, pay 10 rupees and have a cigarette. But it's like a likewise tobacco product, which is HNB, a heated tobacco stick, is like it's not available to youngsters because the government feels that it is harmful to the general public health. Now, I may also point out that heated tobacco sticks, we say the examples of Japan, Japan was mentioned, about, you can say, this is the data of October to December 2022. Now, HTPs basically constitute 36% of the total tobacco consuming population of Japan. It is a major success. Around 66 countries are now using this product. And these are all developed countries, mind you, mostly developed countries. So when we talk about regulation, so regulation is something which like is an answer to ban. You regulate it. So you regulate these products and ensure that it does not end up in the hands of youngsters. So there is a system in place and you give a choice to the smokers. Smokers have a choice that, okay, if I don't want to smoke, I can switch to these products. Now, we have got tobacco cessation programs of the government, but are they working? I'm asking the youngsters, do they actually work? How many smokers switch? How many smokers leave smoking? There is, I'm talking about government data only. So you give an alternative to the smokers, a choice basically to choose between them. And I'm saying that the government should conduct a detailed scientific review of these products. And I'm saying that an independent scientist, don't listen to us. I'm not saying that whatever I'm claiming or whatever the any company or any individual claims, just go by that. Just have a scientific review, have your own independent scientific review. Here, what you do is a novel product comes, you straight away ban it, saying taking a high ground of public health, and thereafter there is an advocacy to overturn that ban. Now, I also must point out to the youngsters that, in fact, even US FDA conducted a study on heated tobacco products, and the US FDA says that that all these products were authorized for in the US market for promotion of the public health cause, as the product produces fear of lower levels of toxins than those produced by combustible cigarettes. Now, I have my colleague Ms. Meenakshi, then Dr. Nimesh Desai, Dr. Harper, they have all spoken about these things. I will not go into them in detail. But the only point is that when we are talking about a regulatory landscape, if we are targeting, say, after 15 to 20 years, we want to become, say, one of the, you can say, the top three economies of the world, then a proper regulatory landscape is very much required, even for the purpose of ease of doing business, even for that purpose. And public health becomes a major part of it, because any policy of the government has to first ensure that the general public health of the citizens of the country are in the perfect condition. So what I personally feel is that uh, when we talk about this regulatory confusion, what the government should do is the government should involve the stakeholders, should go on for a stakeholder consultation on these topics. And then when we talk about tobacco harm reduction, so yes, we support tobacco cessation activities and programs of the government as well. But then you also allow the lesser harmful alternatives, conduct your own scientific review, but allow the lesser harmful alternatives, so that the smokers have a choice. Smokers have a choice, and then it will, we have a firm belief that it will basically help the government in its tobacco harm reduction policies, and it will also help reduce the cancer burden of the country due to tobacco and the deaths that are happening due to tobacco. Thank you so much.